set. You ready? Riley, you live? All right, let's call this neighborhood meeting to order. The purpose of the meeting is to go over with the neighborhood on the Skiway Circle sewer improvement project. And we wanted to make sure that we could answer any questions that the neighborhood had. We know we sent out easement agreements trying to get additional space to work as we put this project together. Today with me, we've got Emily Hayes, our town clerk. Riley's in the back. We're not only recording it, but live streaming it on Facebook. Kate Gervanis is here. She's the communications expert for us. Daniel Davis, our Public Works Director, he's going to explain the project. Benji here from West Consultants is our engineer. And we've got our contractor here with us as well. So hopefully if you've got questions, we should be able to get the answers for you today. So I appreciate you taking your time this afternoon and come sit with us so you can all be on the same page on what this project entails, when it's going to transpire, and what impact it's going to have to the neighborhood. So Daniel, I'd like to have you give us a brief overview, high-level overview of the project.
Hello, folks. Again, I'm Daniel Davis. I'm the Director of Utilities here for Beech Mountain. I've probably spoken to several of you on the phone as this project has been being designed, engineered, planned, and as we move forward here. Just a little bit of the why we are coming into your area. I'm not sure if everyone is completely aware that the town has no sanitary sewer collections in the Skiway Circle area. We do not have any in Meadowview Circle, and we do not have any in Christie Way, nor in Kickturn Lane. You say, there's a lot of pipes out there. For the several years, the town has been trying to help homeowners with various problems in their individual sewer pipes that the best that I can see is over time, individual owners found the best way possible that they could to reach the town sewer services. The nearest town sewer services available are actually in the ski slope proper. They fall from along ski loft and down in the ski slope itself. So a lot of the homes that were adjacent to the ski slope could have a direct access to that sewer pipe, and it would go out the back side of their property towards the ski slopes. However, most of the center, folks just kind of found a way to get down that direction. There's a lot of small diameter white 4-inch pipes that goes through the woodland areas along people's yard edges, and definitely along the creeks, all the way especially from Christie Way down to Kickturn. We've identified this as a problem. It was deemed best for the community that we get you guys a proper, inspectable, state certified sewer collection system to service your homes. This was, of course, on the back end of quite a few folks that would call us up and say, I have a problem, and when we would go out there to work with these, we had no solution for that because, for one, it was either private property or we had no idea how Johnny the contractor 25 years ago put a piece of pipe in that we did not even know was there. So the concept for the project was designed by West Consultants for us. It was put into a process for which the state of North Carolina agreed with the need, agreed with the engineering design, and that brings us to today where we now have Buckeye Bridge Construction, who is working on what we call Contract A of our water and sewer projects in the 2022 calendar year. That's the beginning year. The project entire covers 9 roads across the mountain. The most singular area of work will be the Skiway Circle area, for the simple fact that what is there is undocumented, uncontrolled, and non-inspected. So this means that we have to come through there with new pipes, larger diameter pipes, We have to get all of your pipes connected, your individual home pipes, to our new main sewer lines. The path has been almost pre-selected by the neighborhood. Very much of the direction that we're going to be running our pipes are along the same areas that were previously chosen for individuals as they did this work. It began actually about 2 months ago at the very end of Meadowview Circle here behind Town Hall, right where it connects to Ski Loft Road. The pipe has been installed to the end of Meadowview Circle, where we found unknown pipe that goes down towards Christie Way. We had worked there in the past, so we knew that was there, and that's the path that we followed. We are lucky in almost every case, the existing pipes that were there, they followed property lines. So that's the design that we have made, is to put in an 8-inch sanitary sewer pipe manhole system all the way from effectively the beginning will be the top of Meadowview Circle, and it will outfall back to the ski slope at the far end of Kick Turn Lane. As we go along the path, what I brought is a very simplified path map for the new lines. Today, as it stands, if you go out and you see pipes that are out in the woodways right now, that is very likely the direction that we're going to be going. It will actually take care of the interior of the circle itself, which there's, again, unknown pipes moving through there. We can see remnants and pieces, and we can see appurtenances sticking up. All of those will be cleaned up, reconnected, and controlled properly for a municipal sanitary sewer system. We will be crossing across the property lines. It will be, in some places it follows a water line access, in some places it does not. Skiway Circle, Meadowview, and Kick Turn are getting new sewer. At the intersection of Skiway Road and Skiway Circle, there is currently a manhole there. Some of these pipes actually fall to that manhole. If you were near the, I think it's called Skiway Lane, the little spur off of the circle out there, some of those homes fall to that sewerage, which then goes out Wedling Weg along the paved access. As a part of the project, we will be rehabilitating and ensuring that that section is in new condition, along with the water line in that section as well. Through the woodways, the water and the sewer do not necessarily stay together. Your water connections and your water services go in different directions necessarily than the pipes that we're going to lay. The entire goal here was to provide a gravity sewer system to each home. As it stands, we're somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 homes. There's a couple that are still in question that have septic systems. Those will be, we are making allowance for those. We will be providing a place and free connection back into this new system so that we can get those septic systems out of the yards and out of the ground, proper condemnation processes on those, and get those connected to town sewer. For those addresses, we'll reach out to you individually, and we'll work with where you believe your septic tank may be and best practice in order to get it connected to town sanitary sewer. That's kind of the overview. That's what we're doing. So I guess at this time, I would say,
Well, a couple things.
Yeah.
When do you think their neighborhood will begin to see construction?
as we stand today, we're projecting broadly for next spring. Many of you have lived through the springs here. We're hoping for the best weather as soon as possible next spring to start the project. Shane, could you tell me what do you think this area of length would be? Are we talking 3 months?
Yes, it'll be 3 months.
Okay.
We'll start at Kick Turn, that's where we plan to start. Off Kick Turn on from the ski slope up and then work in the community.
Okay, so beginning on project start on the bottom end at Kick Turn Lane, and ultimately following the path as designed all the way back up to the connection on Meadowview, which is down near Fred's Gazebo.
Okay. And would you talk about easements? What exists and what the additional easements we requested?
Okay. The town has easements across all of the property lines for water and sewer use. The easement is a standard 10 feet on each side of the property line. That's 20 feet of width, and our wonderful contractor is going to have a difficult time fitting their equipment and these new pipe works in for the installation itself to get this sewer into place. So what the town did was we requested an additional easement to get just a little bit more width for the installation of the sanitary sewer. Now bear in mind, the easements are temporary construction easements, only to cover the time period of the installation process itself. They're not long-term, they're not the future binding ones. We still will retain, of course, the 10 feet on each side of the property line. So, you know, what we're trying to do here is simply provide best path, least invasive, and most likely to continue to succeed into the future, as is necessary with gravity sewer. It has to be in the right place, the elevations have to be right, and we have to follow that design in order to ensure that everything goes in the direction that we need it to.
So again, on the easements, we can put the project in the existing easements, the 10 foot of each side. The additional easement was to expedite the project. And maybe you can speak a little bit about that. You can do it in the 10, but it takes longer and it's more disruptive. If we have a wider easement, it goes quicker.
Yeah, the footprint on the machines that we have to use to do that work is nearly 12 foot wide. You have to have a larger machine to do that work because of the depth of the cuts that we have to install the pipe. It's going to take trench boxes for safety of the men. So when we do that, it helps to have the additional area to one side or the other to put spoil piles from the excavation and to continue on. Otherwise, if we do it in a tighter constrained area, we're going to have to handle that dirt 2 or 3 times to get it behind and process around and get it completed throughout.
So I want to be clear, the reason we asked for a temporary construction easement additional space was to expedite the project. It's not going to change the project in any way if we don't get it, and it could quite honestly extend the disruption. So we think it's beneficial. And would you or either one of you speak about when you're done returning the area to its condition?
Well, as it stands, they are to return the area as much as possible to a natural condition. Effectively for Beech Mountain, what that does mean is that they will refill, they will final grade, and they will plant grass seed and straw and make sure that it takes in those areas. Any trees that have to be removed simply have to be removed. The pipe has to follow the path. And further than that, the pipeway has to be clear as well to make sure that any time in the future we don't have root intrusions or any of the things like that that can climb into the manholes and that can pull out, cause blockages in the future.
So trees.
Replace the trees, is that correct?
Pardon me?
Not replacing the trees.
No, we're not replacing the trees.
The trees that are in the easement actually are not permitted to be there. And over the years, obviously, they've either grown wild or people have planted them. And we have the same issue with the power company, who currently is on the mountain, hopefully not in your neighborhood, but they're clearing 20 feet on either side of their power lines of all trees and actually going to spray and kill the vegetation on that easement. So trees are a big issue, and everybody, including myself, really like the trees on Beech Mountain. The ones that are in the utility easement actually are improper and aren't permitted to be there, no one does anything about it until we have a project every 40 years where we have to come in and put in pipe work. So I wanted to clarify that about trees and about returning their yards.
Right.
There are some private walls
Right.
that are affected, and there's some gardens.
Right.
So would you briefly explain what we do there?
Effectively, and I know our contractor, we have to go through them. The pipe has to go in place. This is not the type of situation where you can move it to suit. It must be where it needs to be. They will deconstruct the walls that are in the way, any garden areas, anything like that that is currently planted, they will do deconstruction on. And again, they will return it to a surface that is workable by the property owner. So that does mean that in the future that you can return a garden back to it. Through the inspections department, they get to determine how the walls are placed and things like that. Effectively, we will now have sanitary sewer in your area, and that will have to be maintained into the future. The town will continue to have access. And by law, we're also required to maintain the right-of-ways along those ways. So for the future, we will need to keep those line areas clear.
So shrubs are gone.
If they're in that pathway, they will be. They will. And let me say this as well. Again, we've worked with them for some time now. What they do is an excellent job of removing only what they must. But if they must, they must. You know, they're not aiming, they're not spreading, they're not reaching farther, but it will go into the place that it must go into. And bear in mind, you know, with any new installation, we will have it installed, inspected, and acceptable for the state of North Carolina and for the town of Beech Mountain to operate this system. There will be troubles in the future. There always are. Which means we will be back. So, you know, it's always a situation. It's very much like your water meter or your water line. It behooves everyone to not place anything over top of that, because it's very likely that we will have to come back through and work on that again.
Daniel, what did the pink stakes indicate? Is that the easement area, or is that the?
Those are simply survey marks. They may mean that there's a line there. They may be offset stakes, so they can mean a great many different things. Right. This is the initial surveys that you're seeing out there, the pink flags and things, for them to get their elevations, get their general site location, so that when they get moving, they know where to be. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's a stake here and this is where it will be. That may be an offset. They will have marked the width of the work area and many things like that. So they mean a great many things.
During the construction, will the property owners or residents will they be able to get to their house in and out, or would any of that be shut down where you couldn't get to your house?
Okay, that's a great question. Let me say this. I would ask if anybody wants to ask a question, if you would come up and speak into that mic. That way we get it onto the recording, and anyone else watching can hear that. But the question was effectively access during the project. Please do not associate your project with anything to do with ski loft. Completely separate project. At all times, the contractor will be required to leave you access. In other words, we're not going to block the road for any length of time, longer than effectively a day. It will be working over here, and you can drive around this way. If they're working down here, you can drive around the other side. Now, with those things said, each of you have a driveway. So at some point in the project, and they're laying pipe across in front of your driveway, it may cause you some inconvenience for that day. A large part of this work is through the woodways. So during that time, aside from equipment parked on one end or the other, you'll have one lane access at all times. Cricket Way and Kick Turn Lane they're both narrow. They're both passable by two vehicles, but they're also narrow. So please consider the fact that when we put this in, we have no intention to have long-term road closure. However, at different times during the project, through the day, there will be areas that are difficult to access.
That's an important question, and so I want to make sure everybody understands, because what we had to do in Skiway, in that neighborhood, totally different. This is similar to every other water or sewer project we're doing and have done in the town, where the contractor comes in and has been replacing pipe and meters and things like that. We've always required them to leave access, and at the end of the day, end of the workday, the road is put into condition so that we can drive emergency vehicles on it, because we still have to provide services to the community. So it's not similar to what's happened in Skiway.
Let me say further, I meant to mention on the easements, not every property owner got one of the easement requests. So I've actually had some folks call and say, I've heard about this, why didn't I get one? Well, it's simply because your property was not going to be in the construction zone. So if you did receive one of those easements requests, it will be adjacent to your property in some manner. It's not necessarily on the roadside, it could be on the side through the woods.
We've got a set of plans here, and we have a set of plans at Public Works and Town Hall. So at any time, you can get a hold of Daniel or Kate or myself, and we can go through your particular piece of property and show you what the project entails, whether it affects you directly or indirectly. So we'll be able to do that.
And I have brought today, I have, again, a very simplified map, very easy to see and understand. You guys are welcome to come up and look at, get a look at where it will fall along your property. But again, if there's white pipe there now, there's very likely to be proper pipe there at the end of this project.
So Daniel, the connection from the individual homes to the new sewer line, the plans call for, they have a pipe coming out of their house. And the plans call for us to put in a clean out and connect to the sewer, correct?
Yes,
So
sir.
every house will have a new clean out and a connection to the
Yeah,
sewer.
yeah.
Okay. The piece between that clean out and their house will remain their responsibility.
It will. There will be a clean out at the end where it connects to the town's sewer line. That is for us to clean back to our pipe. So anything past that clean out into the future will be the responsibility of the property owner. We will, however, make sure that everyone gets reconnected properly onto the system. As many of you are aware, you may or may not currently have a clean out device on your line. And the truth is several of you have taken advantage of the neighbor's pipe who simply happened to be there and connected to that. We do have situations where several homes are connected on the very small diameter pipes that were meant for one house. Again, I don't know how that all happened. It's in the woods and out of the town's purview until today. Yes, ma'am.
How is Skiway Road part of this project?
The Skiway Road itself is from Kick Turn Lane, the intersection there, up the paved path to where it hits the Skiway Circle intersection. That gets, it already has sewer there, but it will be replaced, upgraded, repaired, as well as the water line through there. So that's a little bit larger dig because we're replacing both services in that area. The water line showed issues of decay in that area. So most of the area is only getting sewer service, but Skiway Road itself will also get a new water service. And that also means that your water meters will be replaced with new gear as well. So if you're adjacent and on that water line for your connection, you'll also receive a new service line and meter.
So all of Skiway Road is part of the project, or just where it hits Kick Turn Lane?
It's just from Kick Turn Lane to the intersection at Skiway Circle.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple of questions. One of them with the bear-proof trash containers. If those end up being in the easement, whose responsibility is to replace those if they have to be moved?
If they have to be moved, we will do the moving. What we do is we lift them and we set them out of the way. Then that will be the responsibility of the homeowner to put them back into place, which would need to go through, again, the process of meeting with the sanitation department and ensuring the placement is correct.
The other question, on that manhole, because we're at the end of the kick turn.
Yeah.
And I know I talked with you previously about this. Is that going to be moved? Is that going to be right, like, at the end where that telephone pole is, or will that be moved further?
one?
What's your name?
William Hilt, H-I-L-T, 110 kick turn.
So you come at that pole there.
Yes, there's one.
It'll go past that pole, but the manhole will be back closer to the front of your house.
Okay,
That's
So-
all in the gravel.
okay, okay. The other question I had too is, since we're on a septic tank there, you said the connection was free to connect. What about getting from the house to the sewer line? Who's responsible? Who would pay for that piece?
You would pay to bring it to us. Now, the fact is it depends on where we provide you the service, if you see what I'm saying. So if you're currently on septic, there would be some installation required on your part. However, tap fees and tap fees would be, of course, waived in that situation. And again, it's very property specific. So what we intend to do is work with you in every way possible to make the shortest connection possible. And to ensure, for me and for everyone should want to be on gravity sewer and not on a force main. So our intention is to try to facilitate that.
Okay, now, so you're talking about a septic system, or sewer system that being on a lift station to get up to the line? versus-
Right.
Okay. Okay, so that, for us, I think that means going to the ski slopes, I'm guessing.
I got you. I got you.
That's what their neighbor did, so.
Yeah.
That's probably gonna be the best case for them.
Got you. Yeah, I see. That one's on septic. Yeah, each of your neighbors, it just recently, actually, in the last couple of years, have fallen down to the old tube run area there. And we could definitely work with you to make sure that happens.
Okay, great, thank you.
Other questions?
I'm still not sure we're fixing a problem that doesn't exist. I mean, we've never had any problem with our sewer. I don't think our neighbors have either. That's number one. I presume you put cameras down there and you've seen the leaks or something, or not?
No, sir, that's actually one of the problems that we have is the pipe size that is in your area. It's not large enough for us to run our camera equipment in. So what we generally do is when we take a call, maybe it's your neighbor that says, there's sewage running onto my property. I've had that call at least on 4 occasions in the last 2 years. Unfortunately, I'm kind of caught in a crux here. For one, that's not town sewer, that's private sewer. The other part of that is whose sewer is it? Because this home, and this home are connected to this pipe. I can't let sewer just run onto the ground. So what we have been doing is we follow it back to the source, we open up the ground, we make a repair, and we move along and expedite this plan to make sure this doesn't happen.
But we've never, to my knowledge, we've never had a problem, so we're fixing something that is not problematic.
I have had a great many
I
problems.
respect that.
Yeah.
But that is applicable to all?
It is,
Okay.
yes.
Well, the system that's there can't really be called a system, it's non-compliant.
But it works.
Well,
No, sir.
so does the
I mean, to
bucket.
my knowledge, well,
Bucket works too, but it's not compliant and the town.
we don't use buckets in our place.
Well, the town-
Maybe you do, but we don't use them.
No, I don't,
Okay, anyway,
but it
number,
works.
and I gather you can't reline these pipes because they're too small, is that what you're saying?
By all means.
Even though they work? Okay.
I disagree with the statement that they work because I constantly come to neighbors' homes and work on their
But
properties.
not my house, not my neighbor's house. Next is, I'm sure you can get a 12-foot machine in a 20-foot ditch. Why do you need 40 feet? You could put a house in that. I'm asking for, no, he wants 20 feet. He wants 10 feet to either side of the easement. You could put another house in there. I don't get it. Answer?
Well,
Uh,
the footprint of the machine, the tracks of the machine are 12 foot wide.
And and you have it, and you have 20 feet.
And you have a boom on the end of it that's probably sticks out 10 feet at the minimum out beyond the track, so it needs rooms to turn. You can't just dig, it has to turn and remove the dirt and put it to the side. That's your problem. I think that should be our problem.
How wide is,
Excuse me?
how wide is the trench going to be?
Probably 4 foot wide.
Sorry, could you make that measurement point again? I didn't quite hear it. What you need the space for? You said the boom. I didn't hear the numbers.
Like if you see the track goes working out here on Skiway.
Yeah.
The footprint of them is probably a 12 by 12 square, and that's what I mean the tracks. The body of the car body of the machine turns, it's got arms, it's got a boom, and a stick and a bucket on the end. For it, when it turns, it needs the additional room to turn to lay the dirt on the side to continue the process. So it needs the room where it swings into the tree and it just knocks the branches off the trees, which is worse than, because they get broken, put it that way.
Yeah. So I guess I concur with Glenn that we've had many discussions with our neighbors about the concern about the 40 feet. We understand physically the idea that you need the trees in the current easement gone and that you're not going to replace those trees. I guess I understand it's less obvious, but I understand not replacing the walls and the barricades and things like that. I understand the point. I find it very hard to agree to an easement of an additional 10 feet on my property, and Glenn, we're about sharing the border. So that extra 20 feet, and I think you said it's less disruptive, but for us, I think that's anything but. If it takes a couple extra days or something, because you got to go to the end and turn around on kick turn or skiway and drive in, that's a pretty significant difference. I mean, if it's disruptive, we get it, but for us, agreeing to an extra 10 feet of disruption that we're never going to replace trees, my propane tank's in the way, my retaining wall. So that, for us, that extra 10 feet, I just don't see myself giving it
Okay.
at all.
And that's your.
I get it. So I just want to let you know, I mean, I don't want to be disruptive to the process, but, I mean, given the releases you guys are asking for, the lack of restoring the property, the impossibility of restoring the old growth trees,
Right.
I don't see that as something I can give. I don't want to be disruptive to the project, but it seems to me that at least, given what we're dealing with, that especially between kick turn and skiway, I mean, I might be belittling it, but drive to the end of the thing and come back and let's keep some of those trees, because we're losing, we've lost 25 trees on our property from the beach scale issue in the last, 5 years. So, we're not agreeing to take any more down. But anyway, I do want to understand, I mean, so, we're fine, you take the 10 feet that you already have, but if I'm saying something that's wrong, let me know, but it seems to me that we can get this done without knocking down the extra trees and having to move my propane tank or whatever it is.
Let me say this, we are not planning to go through there and clear 40-foot line. It costs us to do that. We are definitely gonna have to clear at least 20 feet through that.
Yeah.
The other 10 feet either side, we can place the dirt if there's room between trees and just use it as a place to place the spoils from the ditch. Then that can be cleaned up. We're not saying we're gonna take 40-foot wide. The trees, 20 is gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Because that is our requirement with them.
Yes.
Yeah, so I assume you've inherited the Carolina Caribbean stuff on the plats and you got your 10 feet, and I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
challenging any of that, right? But I think, if you need permission to dump some dirt on my property for a little while, I'll work with that. But the request in the easement agreement is for, full, I mean, I understand, I'm a lawyer too, I get it, you full rights to do everything and then also get a release for it. But I think that if, what you can do in 20 feet, let's do it. If you tell me you really need to dump some dirt, I'll sign an agreement saying you can dump some dirt.
And I can't verify everybody's piece of property here because I don't know. what's
I
on
understand,
there.
yeah.
So I can't say that we're gonna have to have 30 on yours and 20 on your neighbor. I can't say that without looking at the property and looking exactly what the situation is. But we do have to have 20 feet.
Got it. I think, and it sounds like you already have that legally, yeah.
Some places are deeper than others.
Yeah.
We may be in some places installing a pipe 6 feet deep, there might be some that's 10 foot deep, there might be some that's 12 foot deep. And when it's 12 foot deep, there's that much more spoil pile we have to pull out of the ditch and place aside.
Great, thank you. So happy to have the conversation. By the way, David Brown, 108 Skiway, happy to continue having the conversation, but I just want to make sure that a lot of us share the concern about the extra easement, especially the trees, but also, driveway barricades.
Right,
and such.
right,
Yeah.
for sure.
Great. And I would love to look at the path at the end of the meeting.
Yeah, yeah, by all means. At the end of the meeting, we'll lay it out here and we can show it around.
Thank you.
You know, just to follow up on David's point, some weeks ago, there were 3 gentlemen on our property with jackets on. The lead guy was Eric. I don't know if you know who Eric is. Anyway,
Superintendent.
yeah, well, he explained to me the manhole and all that, but he said, when I said 40 feet, he said, we don't need 40 feet. Now, maybe he shouldn't have said that, but he did.
Well, the truth is, he very well may not need it where you were standing.
Oh, okay, all right.
You know,
That's exactly what the situation I was telling him at. Every situation is different. Some places, I think, if I remember where we were at.
Skiway
standing
Circle.
right there at the edge of the road, there was a wall that we had to go under.
That's his
That
wall.
was somebody's next door neighbor, or, well, I don't think it was yours, but next door there was a concrete wall that we were gonna have to go underneath.
That's his wall.
That's where we were standing at.
That's where exactly we were.
Below that wall, it's gonna be shallower. The pipe's probably only gonna be maybe 3 feet deep there, if I remember correctly. So, that's exactly what 40 feet is going.
Question, come on up.
I'm on Christie Way, but I got all kind of stakes and everything in my yard too. My question is, how many days might we be out of service?
Need water or sewer?
Well, we're only getting sewer, right?
Well, we're doing some water in some other places.
not on Christie. Yours will be sewer
Yeah,
only.
sewer only.
Yeah. Out of service, none. Effectively, when you say days, that is not the intention. Our full intention is to have the pipe in place and reconnect it as they go. So what they may do is they may knock on your door and say, could you give me an hour before you flush or run the sink? But this is not an extended outage type of situation. That's another reason they're starting at the bottom, so that as they come up the hill, the service continues straight through.
My house was built in '96, and I had to put my sewer line in. The city wouldn't get involved. I had to put my sewer line all the way across the top of Skiway, all the way to the bottom of Skiway. And the guy that put it in tore up and repaired 10 different lines.
Right. Yes, sir.
And my line goes all the way down to the bottom. When you start at the bottom, my line's going all the way down there.
I understand.
So how long is it gonna take you to get up to where my line's gonna be hooked into? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It will be in that
sounds
3 months.
I know, but I'm just saying, how long am I gonna be without service?
What he's saying is if you start at the bottom where his long line goes to and disrupt it, his.
I understand a connection well below.
Well, I mean, Shane can speak to this, but regardless of how long it takes them to replace your pipe, which it will, if I'm hearing you right, it's probably gonna be replaced in a different location, but that's not the point. No matter how long it takes, they're gonna keep you in service all the time, even if they have to intercept the wastewater from your house and pump it into the nearest manhole, that they will handle it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You shouldn't be out of service for the hour that it takes to connect.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
concerned because I know
Right, I
how far
understand.
my pipe is
Yeah, and
away.
if we're breaking it down there, you're
Yeah.
out of business.
And another question, why aren't we getting water on Skiway and Christie Way? Because
Well-
I don't have, he's got a leak in front of his house that just stopped leaking for nobody knows why. And my water pressure's terrible. So, anyway,
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. The simple truth is it's about the money. It's a 2-inch water main, which is on our target list, our short-term target list. for upgrades. And that's actually since 2018. The consecutive projects have been the 2018 project, the 2022, and the soon-to-be-announced 2023 project, all which have target areas around 2-inch water mains and aged areas. It has simply not made it into one of those project batches yet. There's many that have not. We have, as a town, we have about 400,000 feet of water main in our system. And hopefully, at the end of the 2023 project, we will have replaced about a quarter of that. It's simply one of those that it's in planning, in process somewhere, but it's not on the immediate.
Does that 2-inch line have enough pressure to put a fire out if my house catches on fire?
Oh, it does.
As long as I bring the water with me.
Yes, sir. Ask the fire chief, he can put it out.
Yeah, it's dollars and cents. The sewer is far more important right now. We are replacing water mains in the town, but we're tens of millions of dollars in debt doing infrastructure over the last 5 years. And all 2-inch water mains, as Daniel said, has been put on that plan to be replaced. The 2-inch main on Christie Way has not been funded.
I'm still working on it.
Thank you.
So I'm Amy, and I'm at 100 Skiway Circle, and I appreciate the work that y'all are trying to do to get some of this stuff done, and you've addressed the leak that's in front of, what's your number, 201 or whatever, Skiway, 206. And I know that you're gonna address that when you start digging everything up. So I have a couple questions. One, when you dig up, I'm assuming like the whole road's coming up, right? So we're gonna get a brand new road?
Not necessarily, not at all. And I'm loath to call attention to Slammerack, but we do standard 24-inch widths when we're in a flat roadway. So it will be predominantly a pavement repair. Now, with that said, levels of demolition do occur. If we pick up the next bucket and it pulls the 4-foot rock out we didn't know was there, but it is actually being designed to be pavement repair, not a full top coat at the end.
Okay, and so I think if you remember, we've talked to you several times, and we just have a problem on the circle, especially the interior of the circle, where there are no homes and the ditches get full, and they're not even
Yes.
ditches, right? Like, so all of the watershed is just a pain, and it's
Yeah.
eroding our yard for sure. So while we're doing any of this work, can any of that be addressed?
Not specifically, no.
Okay.
This is not a stormwater project in any way.
Okay.
We'll continue to try to respond, try to keep those clean, but everyone knows it's the size of the storm often
Yeah.
dictates it. This project will not address any of that.
Okay, then my last is a confessional. Our stakes are down out of our yard. So, partly because one was stuck right in the middle of our parking, which was taking up an entire parking place.
Understand?
So, is that gonna be a problem?
No,
I'm
no,
confessing. So, but I mean, if you're having stakes in our yard until April for a whole year, that's kind of a little extreme.
No, ma'am, that won't be a problem, and actually, I know our engineer and our contractor, it was not intentional to put it in your driveway. I'm
No,
not
of
sure
course
how it
not.
got there.
Yeah.
And
Right in the middle.
I don't know why that person that placed that stake would have assumed that it would stay, so I
Oh, they
hope
were
that
cute
they
and
would.
sweet and kind about it, but they did it, yeah, it was great.
Okay.
But I
So-
mean, if you've been by my house, you know there's typically
Yeah.
like 6 cars crammed into that little spot.
They will find another way to measure.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Thank you.
That one stake that was put in your yard or in your driveway was the center line where the manhole would go. It had to go there to show placement of it.
Yeah.
But then from
then
there,
everything's in the
there's
road.
2 more in alignment with that, maybe a 20 and a 30-foot offset.
Maybe.
They can go in either direction, as long as they're in a straight line with each other. Because that gives us the option when we dig up that hole where that center of that manhole is, to line up backside of those other 2 stakes to set the manhole in that location. So that's kind of it gives you the 3 stakes that are there.
Yeah, I get it, but having them there for a whole year is kind of
That was not a good plan.
annoying, yeah.
I would have handed it back to him.
We will request paint in the driveways next time.
Okay, well, I mean, it's gravel, so nothing like that.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
So we have been emailing some of you whose emails we
we already have as people interested in this particular project. And for all of you who are here today, you clearly are interested in this project, and we'd like to email you updates, and you can converse with us back and forth via email. So I'm going to leave this list up here. Anybody who's already getting emails from me and may already be tired of me doesn't need to sign up. But anybody else that would like to be getting emails on this particular topic, please give us your name, email, and then your Beach Mountain address. Thanks.
Thank you, Kate. And Kate will continue to send out information to the homeowners as we progress, we move along. Benji, did you have anything you needed to add that we hadn't covered?
I think it's already been well said, but like Daniel said and Shane, that you're going from a 4-inch pipe to an 8-inch pipe. The state of North Carolina, and really EPA, it's nationwide. It's a municipal system. It needs to be an 8-inch minimum pipe. It's got to be straight from manhole to manhole so that you don't get backups. So they'll lay it with a laser. It's going to be a professional job, but unfortunately it means big equipment and a little bit wider disturbance than you would for like running just a service line. So just wanted to point that out.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Our house is right at that intersection of Skiway Circle and Skiway Road. We're on the lower side. And when that road was paved many years ago, and since that time and today, somehow or other, one of the main culverts pipes was locked up on the interior side of the road and pushed all of the water into the next culvert up. And they put 2 big pipes in there to handle that water. Well, very little of the water goes through the pipe. It all comes under the pipe, and it's caused an enormous amount of erosion, especially with the heavy rainfalls and when the snow melts. And so when you say that this is only a sewer project and doesn't have anything to do with anything else, I foresee a time in the future when this beautiful sewer project is completed, it will have to be dug up in order to fix the damage that's being done to the road because of that pipe error. And is that just the way the cookie crumbles? Or?
No. So let me say this. They will be excavating through the woods and in the roadways. And I spent most of the morning doing this exact same situation today. As their operators do the excavation, if they find a drain pipe that is a problem, they are glad to call and let me know and ask me what I want to do with this. The sewer project funded by the state of North Carolina is funded only in a water and sewer capacity. An operator that gets there and asks the town if we have a problem and that's something that we can work with as a town in an individual location, I'm more than happy to do that. And regardless, I want to get your address. I want to see what that problem is. But what I'm saying as far as sewer only is there will be no dollars spent to the contractor in the course of this project from the water and sewer funds for this project. And that's important to keep clear. We have no granted stormwater funds from the state that we can pay the contractor with. However, situationally, they will let us know what they're finding, and by all means, they call me twice today. We just crossed a rotten pipe. Hey, please leave the hole open just for a little bit. We're going to get pipe down there. We're going to relay it, and it makes the whole situation smoother.
And how deep will the sewer line be under the road?
It varies. It just depends on where.
What would be the range?
4 to 12, maybe 15 feet at the most.
The other thing is there's a power pole right on the interior of that intersection with Skiway Circle and Skiway Road. And it runs the power lines into a post that was put up right in the middle of my yard, in the front yard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been there ever since the house was built back in the early, back in the Depression era.
Right.
But And I've been wanting to get the, Mountain Electric to run an underground line
Right.
through that road. And I was kind of hoping that in all of this process, I might be able to get them to coordinate actually doing that. And I'm wondering, is there a mechanism that I could follow to maybe make that happen?
There is no mechanism. Mountain Electric is completely autonomous. The town can make requests. We can call and ask. I know a guy. I would be glad to mention it to you. However, what their decisions are, they are their own. I would be glad to look at it, to get with you and talk about who you might should try to speak with about that. But we will have no sway in that. That will be completely their decision.
Thank you.
But this may be a good opportunity, while the place is being
It's a
disturbed.
more convenient time to do it for
And
them.
we actually found that to be beneficial in this other project, working with Mountain Electric. So there could be an advantage to them cost-wise by combining it while we're there digging up, so.
When you take a look at it, you'll see the problem. I mean, a wire comes right across our parking lot down to our house overhead, and it's,
Yeah. As I said, I'm more than welcome to talk with and try to help in the
Can I get your
situation.
address?
100 Skiway Circle.
Okay.
So, it sure would be nice to have underground utilities.
I'm trying to put some brand new ones in for you.
He will-
Yeah, I understand. I do.
Other questions? Okay.
Let me iterate one thing. They talked about driveways. We're gonna keep the roads open, we're gonna keep the lane open, we're gonna keep emergency access. If we have to fill a ditch full of dirt to get an emergency vehicle in, we will do it. We won't stop that from happening. If we cross in your driveway, our guys will be in contact with you in that morning of to let you know that we're gonna be crossing your driveway, so to give you the opportunity to move your vehicle to the roadway, so that you can actually walk. You can get out, use your vehicle. We will block you, we will cut a ditch across your driveway, and you can't get your vehicle out. You have to.
So since
We
some
will
of us
work
are
it.
full-time and some of us are not, what would be the best mechanism for you to reach out to everybody? I mean, do you want everyone's phone, because mail isn't gonna work for half the people. I mean, you want just on the email list, and then that sounds complicated on your part. So
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
does.
a registered person.
I'm sitting here trying to think, you could maybe see us progressing in that direction, but I guess, and I understand where you're at. You'll come in one Friday, Saturday,
I'm
Sunday,
full-time, work full-time.
that kind of deal. You will see us progressing towards your property, towards your house. Let me put it that way.
But I will, because I live there full-time.
Yes,
Half these people don't.
I understand. I
So-
understand.
I'm wondering, I appreciate the email list, and that'll be helpful. I'm trying to help you here communicate with us properly so we don't get in a pickle.
Well, what we will do is we'll do our best as the town. We'll communicate with them. Again, they'll only have a road closure in one place, so we'll have on the circle I'm talking about. So any of the rest of the time, they'll have to keep it, one lane access. So as they're in front of a driveway, we're going to have to ask folks to be watchful. And of course, in these situations, if they arrive at their home, they didn't know their driveway would be blocked. They can park down the street, and walk over. We can work together to make sure that everybody can move freely.
How long would a driveway be dug across?
In most instances, one day.
One day?
Depending on if we get rock, I'll be honest with you, if we have to hammer rock, and how deep it is, and to get it out of the way to lay the pipe, that can vary.
Well,
We may have to dig it out, get to the rock, use a hammer, a ram, to try to remove it, and fill it up, and come back the next day.
Well, and like you were saying, a minute ago, or somebody on Christie Way was, that we might have to ask you to not flush for a little while or something. I'm thinking of all those instances with all of my neighbors that are sometimes there and sometimes not. So just trying to think of the ease for you to be able to communicate, because knocking on the door may not happen. may not work, you never know. But of course, Julie's got a ring doorbell, you can talk to her. So,
And most of the key instances, when we install the sewer line, we're gonna start from a low point and we're gonna go to the high point, progress in that direction.
All right, so the project is next spring, and you just, are you gonna start a kick turn and work uphill?
That is our
So
plan.
you up Skiway Road, Skiway Circle, Piston Way?
I don't know which one, I can't.
Yes, you're correct, you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yes, sir.
So we'll be July.
If you're lucky.
The quicker we can get through, the better off we are. So I will tell you that, we're gonna get through as fast as we can.
Okay, if there's no other questions, we're gonna end the live stream, Riley. And then we'll put the plans out up here. Please come up and meet with Daniel and Benji and I and look at the plan specific to your location. So when you leave here today, you got a pretty good idea what's gonna transpire at your location. I can't tell you exactly when, but it's gonna happen.
Bob, I would also say that for those that are watching the meeting later or live streaming, for the mapping portion, we'll try to get that available in some way, regardless if we can't get it on the line because it's on this piece of paper. Call me, schedule a meeting, come by my office. It's hanging on my wall. Be glad to show you.
Okay. Kate, you have anything you need to add?
No, just please put your email address, name, and your address on that sheet of paper if you're not already getting emails. Thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you. Let's end the live stream, Emily.